Hello, hello, my green skins. And today we're starting Bond Month because we've decided to honor Sean Connery. His death was on Halloween, so we figured, you know what, we might as well give him a good send off, and we'll start a Bond Month. So we're starting with the very first movie, and that movie is Doctor No. What did you think of Doctor No?
I think dr. No is one of the best Bond films ever made. It's a classic. It's timeless.
Mm,
It's just an all around brilliant movie.
meh. I would say, considering the fact that I think there were better movies made after the fact.
Oh, I didn't
I
say it was the
still think
best.
this is a good,
It's just a
yeah.
classic.
Yes, it is a classic, but that's all Bond movies were classic. They're some of the best Bond movies, except for the new ones. With poor man Pierce Brosnan,
I don't acknowledge that.
Daniel Craig.
I don't acknowledge those pieces of shit as James Bond.
Yeah, yeah, they're garbage. No, they revolutionized James Bond. No, no, they revolutionized boredom. It's
Oh yeah.
sad when I'm not. It's sad when I'm so interested that I'll turn my TV to continue watching the Bond movie from the pooper if I want to, and I don't want to stop watching. I just keep it going. So that tells you something. If I need to, I'll run a Bond movie all day for that. And it kept me generally interested. So let's break it down. First, we'll start with the music. What did you think of the music?
Brilliant. It's
Mm,
it's got the classic Bond themes. I mean, you have to give it high marks because it's what started it. I mean, what you're gonna hear in this movie is gonna be used over and over, and then throughout the franchise, or at least redone versions. But it all started here, so it deserves that
I,
credit.
I'm a little bit less biased on this one. I'm gonna say the Bond song is good, the ba 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 but everything else was a little mediocre. Like, come on, this starts off with three blind mice,
Oh,
and
the disco music. No, no, I don't care about that. I'm talking about the stuff that you know,
no, I'm
the
talking about the
themes.
music as a whole. The theme, well, the theme's good. The theme's a classic, but three blind mice up in the coconut in the blah blah. It's like,
Jump up, jump up.
but yeah, yeah, yeah. A lot better than American Ninja 4. So let's put it that way. Next, I guess. Well, how should we do this? Should we do effects first or acting first or story?
Well, we're gonna
Hmm.
get to all of them anyway, but
So we'll start with the story, and then we'll end with the acting, or we'll play with the acting, and maybe then we'll go to the effects. So story, what do you think of the story for this one?
uh, very good, very engaging, very interesting, and I love the way they handled it. I love how these early Bond films don't spoon feed you information, like, or
Yeah,
rather, another way to put this is that modern Bond films they have nothing to even they have no
no, they don't.
substance at
They,
all.
they have no substance. You might as well just have it call the character Action Man, and that's all. That's as much as poor man Daniel Craig can act. Ugh.
I mean,
Um,
I
but
mean
that's the
Bond
thing about
now.
this.
That's the thing. You don't watch Bond solely for the action, and that's what Bond has become. Just an action movie. It's a spy
Yeah,
film.
well,
It's got action. It's
yeah.
got things going on. And to
Hmm.
see Bond reduced to that is pretty sad.
Lame. It's lame.
Yeah,
It's poor. Like I said, this is like I said. I'm not saying that the Pierce Brosnan movies weren't exactly like that either. There were quite a few, but this one had moments of that. But we'll have to get to that in the acting. The story itself is okay. It leads into what basically starts the Bond franchise, and this was actually somewhat of a popular movie considering the fact that how many sequels. And Not the best Bond film for story, but it's okay. The lot, like, you could tell it's 60s. Like, holy hell, is this movie 60s? Well, I like there's a lot of moments in it that are very 60s. And we're gonna get to the acting next. What did you think of the acting?
Top notch. You can't.
Yeah,
It's just brilliant. And, these are stars from the '60s, British actors, actors who have been in theater, so they know what they're
yeah.
doing.
Um, I would say about the acting is that it's actually very well acted, and that there's a lot of good script, and it was really well acted. Let's not beat around the bush. Sean Connery is, like I said, he is the man of machismo. Like that guy has, like, when I say people have swagger, and look, people say Roger Moore didn't have swagger. No, no, no. He had charm. Connery had swagger. Moore had a lot of charm. That's how I kind of look at both Bond actors that everyone likes. And also, he was actually a little bit more built than Connery was. And yeah, no, it was just kind of like this was good acting all around. There was decent acting. It wasn't exactly the Bond girl was okay, but wasn't great. There's a lot of subtle
Yeah,
acting moments too, right?
she was dubbed over. I know. I don't know. I know the actress who played the Asian girl was. I don't know if she was dubbed over, but the main girl who comes out of the water, she was an actress that was dubbed over for the movie because she couldn't speak English, or at least had a thick
Mm.
accent.
Yeah, but it was just like it was. She cool. Like I said, that scene where she comes out of the water, holy hell, that's iconic. That is fucking that poster of her coming out of the water is so iconic. I even remember vaguely seeing a giant, like they actually made a figure bust of just that scene where she's standing there, and they even have like where the swimsuit's a little bit up, so you can see a little bit more of her butt because that's actually how it rode up her ass a little bit in that scene. um, it was okay. It's not a like I said. There were scenes in there just like like the flame robot thing was just like But this is right around the time just before the gadgets. See, that's kind of why I kind of have a love hate to this one. It doesn't have some of the more cooler scenes in there. Like again, having action in a Bond movie is good, but having subtlety is also good. That's what a lot of these Bond movies had in the earlier Connery days was there was subtlety. Roger Moore also had a lot of subtlety in his movies, but these ones had a lot of subtlety. Like that scene where he's walking around when he gets to the airport. You notice that as he's walking through the airport, people, he sees people watching him, and like it's clear that he can like. There's moments where you see his eyes jet in a certain direction and stuff. You really watch it; it's really subtle, and you could kind of tell how he's picking up who's doing what.
That's kind of like that's what's good about this movie. Like the actors know how to. Every scene
Mm,
is planned. One of the
yeah,
best scenes in my opinion is the scene where Bond goes to meet the what do you call it?
geologist.
Yeah, the geologist. Every shot, every word, the way the guy moved, the way he spoke, the way they looked at each other or didn't look at each other
Hmm.
was
Yeah,
it was perfect, you know? And I mean, a lot of people just look at that scene and think, "Oh, it's just Bond asking questions and the guy's hiding stuff." But they won't realize that Bond is testing him. They don't see that Bond is he's behaving a certain way on purpose. He went in there with a plan.
yeah. Same
He
with the hotel. Same with that hotel scene where he puts the bed thing in, just waiting for the guy to come in and try to shoot him. And he knows that someone's going to try to make a move on him. They already had that spider moment, so he decided, well, you know what? They're going to come after me. I might as well find out some information. So he lets the guy empty his entire clip in the he lets the guy empty the entire clip and then just pulls him in and then sits there. And I like to add injury to insult. As the guy's bleeding out, shot through the chest, he shoots him in the ass. And
uh,
just gets up and leaves. You got like there also is a lot of plot holes in this. If you really want to tear this apart, you really can. But that's not necessarily why we're here. We're here to talk about the actual like go to the brass tacks. Now, what do you think of the special effects for this movie? What little there was.
well,
Can we be on? Can we say for the time they were good? Because that's pretty much where we're at with this one. You got to say that they're not the best effects.
well,
Um,
what you can definitely say is that the blue screen is definitely not great considering the time it was made in. But outside of those blue screen effects, particularly in that
mhm.
chase scene, I don't have a problem any with anything else. You know, it's not a movie that required. I mean, it's just what do they need special effects for? They just need explosions, guys fighting, choreograph some fight
Hey,
scenes.
hey, hey, hey! That's special effects, man. That's visuals.
It's just when you
And
say special effects, you think CGI, you think animation, you don't,
no, that's what you
or
think
puppets.
now,
Yeah,
but yeah, but FX and special effects, that's exactly what they were back then. That like I said, I didn't like the flamethrower tank. I still thought that was kind of cheesy and stupid, but some of the sets were really beautiful. Like there are some really beautiful sets in this movie. Like absolutely stunning sets. Like I've heard people want to make sets to this. Like my favorite set is there's that scary scene with the spider where the guy's in that little room in the marble room. That just looks so intimidating. And they had a bunch of other ones too that just really good effects for that. Again, we don't see that type of scene that set work anymore. Like if they can, they'll do half that and then freaking digitally impose something. So it was for the visual effects and for what it was there, it was pretty good for the time, and it still has a little bit of a hold up for today. We can't deny that it's still decent. Like the scenery is really good when we get to the actual Dr. No base. I don't know. What did you think of the actual scenery and stuff for that?
I think it's. I can't not be biased. I mean, I loved just about everything about this movie, and with all the praise I give it, this is gonna sound weird. It is not my favorite Bond film. It's certainly in my top 10, top 5, or top 10, but I don't know. I find myself leaning more towards other movies, which we'll talk about in a later video. But this is the one I watch the least of my top 3, but I still watch it frequently and I love it.
I'm one of those Bond fans that I like Bond, but I got to be in the right mood and the right mind frame to watch Bond. I've always been one of those guys. It's like, I'll watch it. Like I can't put it in like South Park or something like that. I can't put something in and just watch. I have to sit back and relax, have a drink. I usually like to have a little, one of those late night things where you have a little bit of beer and and a little like a can of brewski sit next to you, or I guess if you really wanted to go with the motif, a little bit of martini, and just have a good watch. Like Bond movies are really fun. That's what they are. They're even more fun with people. I find if you watch them by themselves, they don't have the same feeling for me, but they're still really good. So, what do you want to rate this one?
Oh, this is definitely a 9.
Mm, again, for what it is, and for what I feel it is, I would say all Bond movies are probably going to hit the same mark with me, which is about a 7. They're good. They're always good. Like it's something. It's like saying Star Wars. Everyone says Star Wars deserves a higher. Like the OG Star Wars. But no, Star Wars for me will always be about a 7 because they're good. I'll sit down and watch them and have a good time. They're not like some of the other movies where they're they're over the top. And this isn't my favorite Bond movie either. Like mine's I think for one, I'm one of those I'm a Roger Moore guy, so I like some of the Roger Moore ones a little better, especially Live and Let Die, but that's my all-time favorite. Um, so how Bond is this movie?
Dude, it's Sean Connery. It can't get any more Bond.
Yeah, so on the Bond Richter scale, what are you giving it?
This is a this is a 10.
No, I'm gonna give it about out of all the Bonds, I think because this is before we get to the zany gadgets. This is before we get to some of the more cooler things that Bond kind of did at the time. So I'm gonna say about a 5. It's average Bondage for me. Now compared to Daniel Craig, which is -10, uh, this is still pretty good. So yeah, that's our review. We'll be doing Russia with Love, I believe, is next,
From Russia
if
with
I
Love.
remember correctly. Is it from Russia? Yeah, it's from Russia with Love next. I keep getting it's dr.No, and I keep forgetting that Gold because I keep going to Goldfinger, which is a lot of people's favorites, but I keep forgetting which one it is. That was after that because everyone says dr.No Goldfinger. I swear I've had that conversation with a lot of people. I'm a hardcore Bond fan, and I like list off the Bonds. Well, there's dr.No, and if you say dr.No Goldfinger, most people forget with Russia from Love, which was a decent movie. Like that's another really good Bond movie. I'm going to be having fun watching these movies all month. Like this should be quite enjoyable on my end. So that's our first issue of Bond month, and thank you, Sean Connery, for the memories, and we'll see you in the next Bond movie.